It's wonderful to be back at the United Nations for this occasion. Deputy Secretary General for being with us. I'm very pleased that my friend and someone who once represented the United States here before becoming Secretary of State, Madeleine Albright, could join us. Members of the Diplomatic Corps and representatives to the United on the status of women. Many of my friends, elected officials from New York, including Congresswoman Carolyn Maloney, who has been recognized and who is a great champion of women's rights and responsibilities. And to all of you, this final day of the 54th session in Strengthen Health Systems Worldwide. Improving global health is an enormous undertaking. So we are focusing first on those people whose health has the biggest impact on families and communities, women and girls. We aim to reduce maternal and child mortality and increase access to family planning. And we especially commend the Commission and the UN's adoption by consensus of the resolution on maternal mortality. We also intend to further reduce the numbers of new HIV infections. AIDS has now become a woman's disease, passed from men to women and too often to children. Through our Global Health Initiative and our continued work through PEPFAR, we hope to stop that deadly progression by giving women and girls the tools and knowledge they need to protect themselves, and by treating HIV-positive mothers so they are less likely to pass on the disease to their children. Our Global Food Security Program, which I previewed here at the United Nations last September, is a $3.5 billion commitment to strengthen the world's food supply so farmers can earn enough to support their families and food can be available more broadly. Conference on Women. It was a call to action, a call to the global community to work for the laws, reforms, and social changes necessary to ensure that women and girls everywhere finally have the opportunities they deserve to fulfill their own God-given potentials and contribute fully to the progress and prosperity of their societies. For many of us in this room today, that was a call to action that we have heeded. I know some of you have made it the cause of your life. You have worked tirelessly, day in and day out, to translate those words into reality. And we have seen the evidence of such efforts everywhere. In South Africa, women living in shanty towns came together to build a housing development outside Cape Town, all on their own, brick by brick. And today their community has grown to more than 50,000 homes for low-income families, most of them female-headed. In Liberia, a group of church women began a prayer movement to stop their country's brutal civil war. It grew to include thousands of women who helped force the two sides to negotiate a peace agreement. And then those women helped elect Ellen Johnson Sirleaf president, the first woman to lead. In the United States, a young woman had an idea of human trafficking. They are rescuing girls from brothels in Cambodia and campaigning for public office in Kuwait. They are healing women injured in childbirth in Ethiopia, providing legal aid to women in China, and running schools for refugees from Burma. They are rebuilding homes and re-stitching communities in the aftermath of the earthquakes in Haiti and Chile. And they are literally leaving their marks on the world. For example, thanks to the environmental movement started by Nobel laureate Wangari Maathai, 45 million trees are now standing tall. The world's women is not only a matter of morality and justice, it is also a political, economic, and social imperative. Put simply, The world cannot make lasting progress if women and girls in the 21st century are denied their rights and left behind. The other day I heard the New York Times columnist Nick Kristof, who has done so much to bring to a wide audience the stories of individual women who are working and suffering because of conditions under which they are oppressed. And he said, you know, in the 19th century, the great moral imperative was the fight against slavery. And in the 20th century, it was the fight against totalitarianism. And in the 21st century, it is the fight for women's equality. He was right, and we must accept more effective and responsive to their people. When women are free to earn a living and start small businesses, the data is clear. They become key drivers of economic growth across regions and sectors. When women are given the opportunity of education and access to health care, their families and communities prosper. And when women have equal rights, nations are more stable, peaceful, and secure. In 1995, in one voice, the world declared, human rights are women's rights, and women's rights are human rights. And for many, those words have translated into concrete actions. But for others, they remain a distant aspiration. Change on a global scale cannot and does not happen overnight. It takes time, patience, and persistence. And as hard as we have worked these past 15 years, we have more work to do. So today, let us renew our commitment to finishing the job. And let us intensify our efforts, because it is both the right thing to do and it is a smart thing as well. We must declare with one voice that women's progress is human progress, and human progress is women's progress.